There's a strange thing about life that most people never notice. Your future doesn't begin when your dreams come true. It begins the moment you decide to live like they already have. Think about that for a second. Most people wait. They wait for proof, for permission, for signs from the outside world before they allow themselves to act boldly, to walk confidently, or to believe deeply in their own worth. But waiting is the fastest way to stay stuck. The Buddha taught this in a powerful way, not through grand speeches but through simple truth. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. The real secret to growth, success, peace, whatever you're chasing, isn't found in some distant future. It starts right now, in how you carry yourself, in how you speak to yourself, in how you show up when no one's watching. And if you're sitting here thinking, but I don't feel ready yet, that's exactly why this video matters. Because readiness doesn't come before action. Readiness is built by action. And this is something Buddha's wisdom made so clear. We don't become peaceful by avoiding life. We become peaceful by stepping fully into it. So stay with me on this journey, all the way through. Don't skip around. Don't rush to the ending. Every word I'm about to share with you builds on the last. And I'd hate for you to miss the one thing your heart might need to hear today. And if anything I share today makes you feel seen, or gives you clarity, or even just makes you breathe a little deeper, there's one simple free favor I'll ask from you. Just tap that subscribe button. It helps this community grow, and it lets me know that the kind of honest, grounded, Buddha-inspired wisdom we're building here is something worth continuing. There's a quiet truth about human behavior that most people overlook, and it's this: we don't think our way into new lives, we act our way into them. This is something the Buddha understood deeply, long before modern psychology caught up. He knew that change doesn't come just from sitting around, thinking, hoping, or waiting for things to be perfect. Change comes from doing, from living as if you are already the person you wish to become. That sounds almost too simple, right? But pause for a second and really think about it. Look at your own life. How many times have you waited to feel confident before speaking up? How often have you told yourself, when I feel ready, then I'll start? Or, once I have more money, more skills, more approval, then I'll show up fully. And yet, that feeling of readiness never really comes. Why? Because it doesn't work like that. The Buddha reminded us of this in his teachings on right effort, samma vayama, which is about generating energy, not waiting for it to appear. It's about creating momentum through action, not waiting for perfect feelings to arrive. Acting as if it isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about behaving in alignment with the version of yourself that already exists within you, the version that's just waiting to be brought to life through your actions. In Buddhism, this is exactly how transformation happens. We practice not because we are already calm, wise, or enlightened. We practice because that's how we become calm, wise, and peaceful. You know, the Buddha didn't become the Buddha because he sat under a tree thinking positive thoughts. He sat under that tree because he acted with clarity and intention, even while wrestling with fear, distraction, and doubt. His story is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about stepping into practice again and again, especially when things feel messy or uncomfortable. Modern psychology backs this up completely. There's something called self-perception theory, which says your mind watches your actions and then decides what kind of person you are. In other words, confidence doesn't magically appear first. Courage doesn't show up fully formed. You create those qualities by acting like someone who already has them. Just like the Buddha said long ago, your mind becomes shaped by your actions. But let's be honest, this isn't always easy, especially when your mind is busy replaying every mistake you've made or whispering doubts about what you're capable of. That's why the Buddhist path is rooted in mindfulness, sati, so that we can catch ourselves in those old patterns and choose differently, so we can notice, here is fear again, and then gently ask, but how would the calm, confident version of me act right now? And then here's the key. You act from that place, not waiting, not hesitating, but choosing to live from your higher self, even when it feels unfamiliar. This is why Buddhist monks train in daily discipline. Not because they're already perfect or beyond human emotion, but because their actions shape their minds. They walk mindfully, not because they always feel peaceful, but because walking mindfully creates peace. They speak kindly, not because it always comes naturally, but because speaking kindly plants seeds of compassion within them. This practice, acting as if, doesn't mean faking it in a dishonest way. It means practicing being the person you want to become until it's no longer practice. It's just who you are. The Buddha often taught that we are not stuck in our current habits or identities. We are fluid, we are changing. Every moment is an invitation to step into a new way of being. So maybe today you don't feel like a patient person. Act with patience anyway. Maybe you don't feel confident. Speak and stand like someone who is. Maybe you don't feel peaceful. Move slowly, breathe deeply, and treat yourself gently like someone who values inner calm. Every small act is a message to your own heart. This is who I am becoming. There's something beautifully humbling about realizing that every version of you that you dream about, the calm you, the confident you, the disciplined, joyful, peaceful you, isn't found somewhere far away. It's already inside you, quietly waiting for your attention, waiting for your action. And the Buddha saw this truth so clearly, long before modern psychology gave it fancy names. He didn't teach that we needed to become someone else. He taught that we needed to uncover who we truly are beneath all the noise, the fear, the habits, and the conditioning. Most people today believe change happens when life gives them better circumstances. I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be calm when life slows down. I'll be confident when people finally respect me. But the Buddha flipped that idea completely upside down. He showed us that life doesn't change first. We do. And when we change how we show up to life, life responds in ways we never expected. His words were simple, but they cut deep. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. See, the Buddha didn't say what happens to you makes you who you are. He said what you think, what you cultivate in your mind, and how you respond, that's what shapes you. And this is where self-transformation truly begins, not in waiting for the world to treat you differently, but in training your own mind to move differently, see differently, and act differently. What's so powerful about the Buddha's teachings is that they're not about overnight transformation. He wasn't selling quick fixes. He spoke about daily effort, gentle discipline, and patient practice. In Buddhism, this is called bhavana, which means mental cultivation. It's the process of planting seeds in your mind every day. Seeds of kindness, awareness, patience, courage, and then tending to them over time, even when you don't see immediate results. Just like a farmer doesn't dig up the soil every day to check if the seed is growing, the Buddha reminded us to trust the process. Keep watering the good habits. Keep showing up. Keep practicing. What happens when you do that long enough? Transformation doesn't feel like forcing anymore. It starts to feel natural. The same way a tree doesn't struggle to stand tall once its roots are deep, you won't have to fake confidence or peace anymore. It becomes who you are. But here's the thing most people miss. Transformation in Buddhism always begins with awareness. You can't change what you don't see. This is why the Buddha taught sati, mindfulness, the art of noticing your thoughts, your reactions, your habits without judgment, just noticing. Because once you notice, you create space. And in that space, you get to choose. Do I follow this old habit? Or do I practice something new? That moment of choice, and that's where your power lives. And let's be honest, self-transformation isn't always glamorous. It's not always about huge life changes or dramatic breakthroughs. Sometimes it looks like pausing before you speak when you're angry. Sometimes it looks like sitting with discomfort instead of reaching for distractions. Sometimes it looks like forgiving yourself after a setback and trying again tomorrow. The Buddha called this right effort one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path, not effort that burns you out, not effort rooted in perfectionism, but effort rooted in care, effort that guides your mind toward what is wise, loving, and peaceful. He often reminded his students, little by little a person becomes good, as water fills a pot, drop by drop. Isn't that such a relief to hear in a world obsessed with speed? Real change isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet, it's slow, it's steady. And maybe the most beautiful teaching of all is that the Buddha didn't believe some people were special or chosen for transformation. He believed anyone, no matter their past, their mistakes, their struggles, could walk this path, because it's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to wake up, willing to practice, willing to become who you already are deep down, peaceful, compassionate, wise. Most people spend their whole life waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting until they feel confident enough, skilled enough, or worthy enough to finally step into the life they dream about. But here's the uncomfortable truth that Buddha's wisdom reminds us: life doesn't wait, and neither should you. The Buddha didn't sit beneath the Bodhi tree waiting for confidence to appear before he started his journey. He sat there in stillness, facing every doubt, every fear, every distraction, not because he was already enlightened, but because he was committed to becoming it. Becoming the person you want to be doesn't start after everything falls into place. It starts now, in the smallest choices you make each day, in how you carry yourself when no one's applauding yet. The Buddha often reminded his followers that the mind creates the world, not the external world we can touch, but the inner world we live in every second. And if you want that inner world to reflect peace, confidence, and wisdom, you can't wait for those qualities to magically appear. You have to practice them. You have to embody them long before the results show up. So how do we actually do this? How do we move from knowing this truth to living it? First, start with your posture. Yes, really, you'd be surprised how much your body tells your mind what kind of story you're living. The Buddha taught walking meditation as a way to bring full awareness to even the simplest act of movement. He didn't walk like a man in a rush. He walked like someone fully present, fully grounded, fully awake. Tomorrow morning, before the world gets noisy, stand still. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chin gently. Feel your feet rooted to the ground like the roots of an ancient tree. Tell your body, we are not small. We are not shrinking today. This alone shifts your energy. Second, speak with clarity. The Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path includes right speech for a reason. It's not just about avoiding lies or gossip. It's about speaking from truth, kindness, and confidence. Pay attention to your words, especially about yourself. If you're constantly saying things like, "I'm just not good at this," or "That's impossible for me," catch yourself and shift it. Say instead, "I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm getting better every day." This isn't about fake positivity. It's about aligning your words with the future you want to create. Third, dress and move like the version of you who already lives the life you dream of. And this isn't about expensive clothes or surface-level style. It's about care. The Buddha taught that mindfulness applies to every detail of life. The way you care for your appearance reflects the way you respect yourself. Wear what makes you feel alive, focused, and ready. Move through your day with calm determination, not rushed anxiety. Fourth, create a sacred morning ritual. Buddha didn't begin his day by scrolling through distractions or reacting to the noise of the world. He started in stillness. You don't need hours. Even 5 minutes will change everything. Sit quietly. Watch your breath. Offer a simple intention. Today, I choose to respond with patience. Today, I choose to carry peace within me. Let that intention guide your actions, no matter how chaotic the day becomes. Fifth, act now, adjust later. So many people stay stuck because they want certainty before they act. But Buddha taught impermanence, anicca, that everything is always changing. Waiting for perfect conditions is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving before you go for a swim. It's never going to happen. Start with what you have, with who you are today. Want to write? Write badly, but write. Want to learn a new skill? Be a beginner, be clumsy, but show up. The only wrong move is standing still. There's this quiet battle that goes on inside almost every one of us. It doesn't always show on the outside. We could look calm, smiling, doing all the right things, but deep down, there's that small, persistent voice that whispers, "What if I'm not ready?" Or "What if I'm not good enough?" And honestly, that little voice can be exhausting. It sneaks in when we're about to try something new, when we're dreaming a little bigger, when we're about to step into a version of ourselves we've never been before. It tells us to wait, to shrink, to hesitate. But here's the truth that the Buddha reminded us again and again. Doubt is just a visitor. It's not your true nature, it's not who you are. See, in Buddhism, there's a beautiful teaching about this inner struggle. It's called vicikiccha, the hindrance of doubt. The Buddha described it as one of the biggest barriers on the path to growth and awakening, not because doubt itself is evil or bad, but because of what doubt makes us do, or more often, what it makes us not do. It keeps us frozen. It disconnects us from action. It convinces us that maybe later is better, that someday we'll feel ready. But you and I both know how that goes. Someday becomes never. Later becomes forever. The Buddha didn't say we should fight doubt with force. He didn't tell us to suppress it or pretend it's not there. What he taught was so much more compassionate and wise. He taught us to observe it, to look at doubt not as an enemy, but as a signal, a sign that we are standing at the edge of growth. Think about it. You don't doubt things that don't matter to you. You don't hesitate over decisions that feel small or meaningless. Doubt shows up exactly where your heart is invested, exactly where your future is waiting. But here's what's beautiful. The moment we see doubt for what it is, its power weakens. The Buddha said, doubt separates us from our true self. Awareness reconnects us. When you catch yourself thinking, maybe I can't do this, pause, name it. Our doubt is here. And then return to what matters. Return to your breath. Return to your intention. That simple act shifts you from being trapped by doubt to being the one observing it. And that changes everything. And let's talk about change, because doubt and change go hand in hand. Every meaningful change we want in life, whether it's building confidence, starting a project, healing from pain, or simply living more authentically, requires us to step into unknown territory. And the unknown naturally stirs up doubt. The Buddha taught us that all of life is impermanent. Anicca. Everything changes, everything moves. And clinging to certainty is the quickest way to create suffering. The truth is, we are supposed to change. Growth isn't a betrayal of who you've been. It's a celebration of who you are becoming. But that doesn't mean it feels easy. Change can feel messy. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel lonely at times. And that's okay. In fact, that's normal. The Buddha never promised us that the path would be smooth. What he promised was that the path would be worth it. And part of that path is learning to carry doubt without letting it carry us. There's a beautiful Buddhist image I love. It's of a lotus flower growing out of the mud. The lotus doesn't bloom because it avoids the mud. It blooms because of the mud. The struggle, the mess, the uncertainty, that's what strengthens the roots. That's what makes the blossom possible. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us today. Doubt will visit, change will challenge you, but neither of those things are signs that you're on the wrong path. Often they're proof that you're exactly where you need to be. The Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." And that path, it's not walked in perfect confidence, it's walked in small, imperfect, brave steps forward. The life you're dreaming of isn't waiting for some perfect moment to begin. It's waiting for you to begin. The Buddha reminded us again and again, with our thoughts, we make the world. And that world starts right here, with every choice you make, every word you speak, every step you take, like the person you're becoming already exists. Because the truth is, you're not waiting for the future, you're building it. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for walking this path with me. This is what Buddhist journey is all about: real growth, real peace, and the courage to live fully now. And if this video spoke to you, there's another waiting for you right here on the screen. Go ahead. Keep walking this path. Keep growing. Keep becoming. I'm deeply grateful you're a part of Buddhist journey.